All right, Bulls and Bears. Hey there. It is August 30th. It's a Monday, 2021. Thank you for joining me. Let's take a look at these markets here. We've got some other economic information to get into. We're going to talk about the evictions. But first, the markets. Now, this is very important. And I know many of you aren't in the stock market. You may not care. But why is it important to talk about this? Well, remember, and I think most of you remember, the previous regime, one of their main talking points on how good the economy was doing was the stock market. Remember all the bragging about the stock market. Well, look what's happening. Every week it's new all-time highs. And here we are again. Stocks extend gains. S&P 500, NASDAQ rise to all-time highs. Even with all the turmoil happening right now, all the millions of people pending eviction, and that's a complicated issue because you have local and city eviction moratoriums still in place even after the federal moratorium gets ended. And some of you said, JJ, it's done, it's done. It's not done. There's still a lot of local, even entire states have their own version of the eviction moratorium. But back to the stock market, remember all the bragging. Well, if the stock market is the gauge of the economy, which it shouldn't be, but if it was, then the current regime is much better for the economy. Is the stock market the economy? No, again, no. But if you go off what the previous regime was bragging about, the current administration is doing much better. All right, it's a pretty ridiculous way to look at the economy. Of course, we know the stock market should not be viewed as the economy, but I'm just going off what the previous regime had indicated. Also, unemployment, fake manipulated number, but it's going down. Compare this fake manipulated number to the previous regime's fake number, and I wouldn't be surprised it'll just continue to get to all-time lows, even though more and more people technically are out of the labor force. So it's not an accurate number. But again, if you compare fake number to fake number, regime to regime, the current regime is probably going to end up doing better than the previous regime on paper. But in reality, everything's getting much worse, right? Inflation, the average working person, the middle class, doing much worse now, paying far more for goods and services and items than what their wage increases would indicate, or what their wage increases could handle. So yes, you're going to continue to see consumer debt rise, people getting back into debt now. People are back out spending their credit cards again, reopenings in many states, more people traveling. They've got, they've taken the steps to enable themselves to be able to travel again. All right, this economy is just really, really sad. And it's sad to see so many people kind of oblivious, to what's really happening. And when this thing turns, it's going to turn in a wicked way. And I'm still in the deflation camp. So now, let's say it again, reality versus what's being put out there by the powers that be, completely two separate worlds. I mean, take a look out the window and see what's happening. And look at homeless camps now encroaching on schoolyards, as we talked about in our previous video. Oh, and also, quick note, I didn't put out a video yesterday, by the way. I did get caught up on a lot of emails and messages that I received and letters and things like that. So if I didn't get back to you in the past few weeks, you might want to check your messages and inboxes. So yeah, it's markets completely detached and becoming more detached from the real economy as the days and weeks continue here in 2021. But I am still in the deflation camp. I feel like there's going to be a straw that broke the camel's back moment. We're seeing just a lot of things happening as far as socially, politically, foreign policy. We see what's happening in the Middle East. We see this eviction thing beginning to unwind finally with the ending of the federal eviction. You're going to see a lot of people in the streets, a lot of unrest, a lot of angry, desperate people. We're seeing crime rising in most major cities. And even if you're in a good spot right now, prepared, be very, very cautious. You might want to stock up on some extra security lights, security systems, self-defense mechanisms, etc. Also, from a preparation standpoint, food, fresh water. Who knows? We could see disruptions. They could say that the utilities got compromised. You might have to get your water cut off, electricity cut off. Who knows what could happen? We've seen just so much insanity unfold in the past year and a half. It's anyone's guess as to what's going to be lying ahead here in the next few months and years. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some sort of a blackout situation here coming up in the next few months with everything that's happening. And think about this. People criticize being prepared. They say, oh, I've got all this stuff that I bought. I never use it. Let's say you do buy too much of something and end up not using it. You'll have goods and items to trade with. Imagine when this food shortage really hits, there's going to be people in your community that maybe they'll need food, and maybe you'll have food to give or trade for something that they might have that you need. Right? When this gets really bad, when you start seeing economic collapse play out, and it could be inflationary also. Either way, now let's talk about the rising prices, inflation, rising cost of living. Did it just start here recently? Well, no, it's accelerated recently, but that also started back in the previous regime. Remember the tariffs? That was what got the ball rolling on the prices rising. Did manufacturing come back to the United States as was promised? Not really. All right, some people say it went from bad to worse. Other people say it went from worse to bad. Either way, you still need to get ready for what's coming. This is the next phase of the economic collapse. The eviction moratorium, rising prices are accelerating. I think most people believe the narrative that this is just temporary. They're blaming the supply chain disruptions, and sure, that's part of it. But is it temporary? I don't think so. And maybe you're more optimistic than me. And if you are, maybe you think this sounds like doom and gloom. But if you are more optimistic, please let us know down in comments, what's the solution? Who's going to fix it? Is your magical current regime person, gonna save this and fix all this? Let me know what's going to happen. What's going to reverse this? What's going to make this temporary? I'm all for good news. I just haven't really seen anyone paste anything or post anything down in comments when I ask for it. So again, if you have good news, if this is doom and gloom to you and I'm wrong, put the good news down in comments. We'll read it. I'll read it. And maybe we'll talk about it in our next report. But so far, everything's looking worse. The next phase, the economic collapse, is entering. Get ready for more rising prices, more shortages. And, to top this off here, we've got a whole new set of rules coming down from above. And you're going to see our lives change drastically here as the months and years continue. And you just got to continue to prepare as best you can. I'm doing it here in California. Correction to my previous video, I said it doesn't snow here in California. I should have meant to say, it doesn't snow where I'm at in California. Now, yes, there's parts of California it snows up in the mountains. Actually, I did a video back in January up in Yucaipa. We were in snow. But my point was, as far as going to some place where it's easy to survive this economic collapse, I'm staying put here in California. One of the main reasons is because it doesn't snow where I'm at. There are some cheaper states to move to. They all have their drawbacks, in my opinion. But the snow is just something that I'm just afraid. I'm afraid of it. And I lived in Michigan for many years, so I know what it's all about. So just wanted to give that correction also. Signing off now. Stay prepared and stay positive. Don't let the situation get to you, because as soon as it gets to you, then you have been sort of handicapped in your ways to handle what is ahead of us. Let's not panic. Let's not be negative, but let's know what's going on so we can figure out how to prepare for this. What I'm doing, keep stacking, stay prepared, people. Bye for now. Peace.